to another episode of Curtain Call Conversations. I'm here today with, quite frankly, musical theatre royalty. Yes, Kerry Ellis is joining me to chat about her Westway session. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me on. This
Oh,
is
you're very
lovely.
welcome. What a pleasure for me this is. I mean, your sort of CV is extensive. We'll try and talk about a few things if we can over the next sort of 10 or 15 minutes. But firstly, obviously, we've got your Westway session to look forward to on Bank Holiday Monday. So are you looking forward to it?
I am, yeah. What's lovely about this actual show that I'm doing at the Vaudeville on Monday is that I did a tour at the end of last year called Kerry, Ellis, Queen of the West End, and it was a really intimate kind of one woman show that I did all around the UK. We did about 45 dates, and
Yeah.
it was, kind of me telling my story alongside a book and singing some songs and showing some clips on the screen. It was kind of a really like an evening with, and it received so well that we're going to do it again this year. We've got a 50 date tour at the end of this year.
Oh, amazing.
But in the middle of that, we thought I came together with Westway as I did my last album with them, and they were talking about these Westway sessions, and it just seemed the perfect time and the perfect fit to do a London kind of stint in the middle of the tour. So yeah, to do a London date is going to be really nice. I've played the vaudeville before many years ago with
Yeah.
West End Men,
Yeah.
so the theatre's familiar for me, and it's always nice to take your own show somewhere. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So is it going to be sort of around the same sort of vibe as your tour, so with stories and songs?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an intimate show. It's myself, my MD, Dan Glover, who's not my usual MD, but I recently worked with him on the If Then concert that we did at the
Oh yeah.
Savoy.
Yeah.
So he's going to come along and play, and then I have a screen and I show some clips and look back over the past 25 years. I tell some stories, I sing some songs, I have a couple of special guests, I get up
Oh,
people from the audience, I
oh
have a bit of a sing
wow.
along. It's quite informal. I say it's quite informal. It's intimate. It really is. It's the theatre itself is quite
Yeah.
intimate. So
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of being able to talk to people and see them and hear them. I do lots of big shows and
Mm.
big orchestral, loud shows where it's a bit more formal and presentational. So to do something like this that's a lot more relaxed, it's interactive.
Yeah.
Is I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how do you sort of narrow down what you want to sing and what you want to talk about over sort of your varied career? I mean, there must be so much for you to choose from.
There is, and the beauty of this show is that I was able to adapt and change and evolve the show along the tour. Um, because initially, you start something out and you have an idea and you think of how it's going to work, and it does, but things change, things kind of move, and things work better than others. And we finished kind of in a really good place where the show I felt was in really good shape. That said, it's going to change slightly for the vaudeville. I'm going to put a few extra songs in, and it will probably change again for the following tour
Yeah.
because things change. After
Yeah.
the last year, I've done new music. I've collaborated with new people. I've done new concerts. I've done If Then. I've done 101 Dalmatians. So I've got different things to
Yeah.
talk about, and that's what's
Yeah.
nice about the show. I can bring up new things that have happened. So yeah, it will be slightly different. And yeah, choosing the songs is hard, I guess. I like to sing what I like at the time because I think that's
Okay.
quite inspiring for me and interesting for me. But of course, there's things that people will expect to hear that I will of course sing. But
Yeah.
there's some new things in there as well. Some things that I grew up singing when I was a kid that inspired me. Do a little version of the song Tomorrow from the movie Annie. So I
Okay.
think I played that on repeat when I grew up, that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the shows, early day shows, something from My Fair Lady, a bit of Les Mis,
Yeah.
obviously a bit of Rock You,
Yeah.
and then some more recent things from like my albums and concerts. So it's a real eclectic mix of music.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds wonderful. I mean, people will be lucky to get a ticket for this, but I shall put on the next slide where they can grab their tickets. I mean, another show that I just wanted to quickly chat to you about is Gravity that you're doing at Theatre Royal Drury Lane on the 31st of August. Three sensational voices, yourself, Rachel Tucker, and Louise Dearman. I mean, what's the sort of premise for that one? I have got my tickets, by the way. Can't wait. So what's going to happen with that one?
Well, I mean, the three of us are really good friends. You know,
Yeah.
we've been friends for years. I mean, Lou and I go back I mean, we've known each other nearly 35 years, dare I
Wow.
say it. But we are all really good friends. It's rare that you get to share the stage with one of your kind of peers that are very similar. You know, we would all play the same role, so it's rare that you get to share a stage with not only your friends but people that are, just I'm just adore them. I think they're brilliant and so brilliantly talented.
Yeah.
But some friends of ours at Cisco Productions came up with the idea of putting the three of us together to do a concert, ideally for over in America and for doing a few concerts overseas, which
Okay.
we were all really excited about. And then they came around and said, "Oh, we've booked Drury Lane." So we were like, "Oh, okay." And I don't think any of us were really looking for that at the time because
Okay.
we all do our individual shows. We're all super busy. We're all kind
Mm.
of doing this, that, and the other. We hadn't really thought about it. But when they came up with the idea, we thought, you know what? Why not? You know, with Wicked Mania on at the moment,
Yeah.
it's probably quite a nice time to do it. Um, so yeah, we booked obviously the Drury Lane Theatre and put it on sale, and it pretty much sold out in the first kind of few hours, which was
Yeah.
really lovely. You know, that's always um, a nice thing to happen.
Yeah.
I think there's literally a couple of tickets left for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're excited. It will be fun. Like I said, we're really good friends, so that camaraderie on stage
Mm.
works really well, and we all enjoy singing together, which we don't get to do very often.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. I shall be there. Looking forward to that one. So with regards to your career, I mean, it's been so vast and so varied. I just want to talk about your voice because for me, it's just got better as, I don't want to say you've aged, but
Thanks.
we're the same age, so I can say
Yeah.
it. But I mean, how do you look after your voice? What's your secret with it?
You know, it's an interesting one actually because I've recently in the last couple of years created my own online course, and
Oh, wow.
I didn't. I teach a little bit. I do workshops, and I'll go into colleges and speak now and again.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a teacher as such. And during the lockdown, I did a bit of online teaching, and I thought at some point maybe I'll create something. Anyway, in the last year, I created this online course of 12 weeks of how to succeed in musical theatre. We talk about all the aspects of theatre, the things that you don't get told about, the backstage stuff,
Mm.
the preparation for auditions and all that stuff, and basically all the things I've learned over the years.
Mm.
And today, I'm in my third course at the moment. And today's session was all about vocal stamina and looking after
Okay.
your voice and all of that. And I I was saying to them today, I think just with age and experience, I've just learned. I think by doing it wrong a lot of the time and by kind of trial and error, I've learned how to look after my voice better.
Mm.
And I do feel, I mean, I'm nearly 46 next month, and I do feel like my voice is almost stronger than ever. It feels, I don't know, maybe that's just maturity and how I've learned how to use it
Yeah.
and not abuse it, I think
Mm.
is
Yeah.
is the main thing, and I guess with age and experience, I don't drink as much, I don't go out as much, I don't, I'm
Mm.
not shouting over music. So those general kind of things.
Yeah.
But I'm healthier, I think, than I was. I look at what I eat. I exercise more.
Mm.
I drink lots of water. I think just as a different time that we're in now, we're all more educated with those kind of things,
Yeah.
and they definitely have had an effect on my voice, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I mean, it's just such a a sensational instrument you have there. So I'm sure that you need to look after it as best as you can. If we can sort of travel back to kind of the start of your career, I mean, We Will Rock You was really sort of pivotal for you. I mean, what's your lasting memory from sort of that first ever time you went on that show as Meet?
Oh my goodness. I mean, the whole experience was very exciting. It was just an exciting time. We
Yeah.
were a young company. The majority of us were early 20s. So it was a really young company. We were opening this brand new show at the
Mm.
Dominion Theatre to packed out audiences, to standing ovations, people screaming Queen songs back at us. It was
Yeah.
a real kind of moment. And I don't think, I mean, we were just really excited.
Mm.
As a team, we just were very excited and just loved it. But I don't think I realised how huge it was really until I started to look back. I think now when I when I kind of look at all the other shows and look at shows that have been around since and are around,
Mm.
it's not then those big, expensive, brilliant, bright shows aren't as often as they used to be, and
Mm.
and that was a really exciting thing to be part of.
Yeah.
And obviously, we that's where I met Queen. It's where I met Brian and Roger,
Yeah.
and Ben Elton, and obviously Arlene Phillips, and we were just surrounded by all these kind of legendary people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, and I think we were all just kind of young and naive enough to just take it in our stride, and that's what the show
Mm.
needed. It
Yeah.
needed that kind of youth and that excitement and the not naivety, but just brazenness. I think it
Yeah.
needed that guts, and
Yeah.
that's definitely what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've worked quite extensively as well with Brian May since We Will Rock You, as you've just mentioned that, it's their show essentially. So I mean, what's it like working with an absolute rock legend? I mean, do you get starstruck at that point in your life?
Well, I think the thing about Brian is that it's been a slow burn, Like obviously initially when I auditioned for him in For We Will Rock You, I was like, oh my God, that's Brian. But along that
Yeah,
panel that day was also Roger
yeah,
and Arlene, and Ben, and we had Steve Sidwell, we had Mike Dixon, we had this massive panel of people.
yeah.
So the whole thing was quite overwhelming. But I think with him, they were around so much. So in rehearsals, we all got used to them very quickly because they
Mm,
were so
yeah,
hands-on and around. And then I didn't really start working with Brian until I left the show years later.
yeah.
And we started working on music and albums, but it was very gradual and sporadic. So by the time we kind of put the first album out in 2010 and did a first kind of show, I was, that had been, I don't know, that's 10 years, so he was very
Yeah.
familiar.
Mm,
Um, but I get start. I kind of what's weird is when I go and see him play with Queen or see him, like do a guest appearance somewhere, like in a stadium. It's then I go, oh my God, that's Brian May, and I can
yeah,
be sat in a studio with him being very like normal, but it's almost like they're two different people.
yeah.
Uh, but no, he's been brilliant to me over the years. He's been such a mentor and
Mm,
advised me so much and taught me so much along the way as well. So yeah, I'm grateful, obviously, to have him
yeah.
in my life.
Yeah, it's a pretty great person to have sort of, offering you that advice, I would imagine. How wonderful. So over your career, I know this is probably an impossible question, but can you pinpoint sort of a real standout moment that you've experienced? Perhaps it's somewhere you've performed or someone you've performed with. Have you got anything that you can bring to mind?
Oh, there's loads. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
there's
know.
so many moments. I mean, performing in New York on Broadway was a epic moment for me because it was a childhood dream. But
Yeah,
then so was performing in the West End, but that happened quite quickly for me.
yeah.
Um, uh, I think there was an amazing. The Festival of Remembrance was
Mm,
magical, as was
yeah,
the Royal Variety. Those two were really poignant moments.
yeah.
Um, but I do remember performing. in a place in Verona, um, and it was like the Colosseum in Rome. You know, it was like
Wow.
a big outdoor arena,
Yeah.
and we had a big orchestra, and we had a band and choir, and it was live to the entire nation.
Oh, wow.
And it was just I think it held about 30,000 people. Um, and I just remember walking down. I was singing "No One But You" at the time, and I remember walking down to the front of the stage. It was a really long walk to the front of the stage, and I remember kind of looking around, going, you know, this is such a moment. This I need to take this in because
Yeah.
this is a real moment. And it's on YouTube, and I still watch it back and think, oh my God, you know that was quite mega. And I was pregnant at the time as well, so
Oh,
I look at it and
wow.
go, oh my God, that was such a moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one was pretty epic.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, when you're sort of touring the country, I know you've got a young family. I mean, do they come with you? Is it just something that you'll go off to do for a couple of months and not take them? I mean, I don't know how it works with sort of the work-life balance. I know it must be really
Oh,
hard.
I mean, that's the kind of you know, $1 million question, isn't it? That work-life balance, and
Yeah.
I don't think I ever quite understood it until more recently, really, because when they were babies, I mean, I worked kind of through both my pregnancies and
Mm.
right up until, you know, pretty much a couple of weeks before.
Oh, wow.
And then I went back in with both of them quite early, and I toured with both of them, and I just took them with me on tour
Yeah.
when they were babies.
Yeah.
And then I took them everywhere. I took them on tour buses, on planes from like
Wow.
literally months old.
Yeah.
Um, I took them touring when I was doing like Wonderland and Rent, and they were babies, you know, they were in car seats.
Oh.
Um, and then it got a little bit more difficult when they started school, when they started nursery, because
Mm.
they needed that kind of that routine. So that got a bit trickier.
Mm.
But now, obviously, they're 11 and 9 now, so now they are well into school, and
Yeah.
it does it is hard because I have to go on my own now. I can't take them,
Yeah.
and they're kind of used to it, but they notice it more now. They're like, oh,
Okay.
I'm going away again. Or they joke and say, "Are you going on holiday again?"
Yeah.
um, but they do come and see me, you know, when they can, when weekends and holidays and stuff. They do come, and we
Yeah.
try and work it out so that I'm not away for too long a periods. But you know, it's
Yeah.
difficult in
Yeah,
an
it is.
industry like this.
Yeah, it is absolutely. Well, I mean, I could chat to you all night, but we haven't got, we can't do that. I need you to get back. So thank you so much for your time. I really hope your Westway session goes really well. And of course, your tour. I'll put some details on the next slide where people can grab their tickets for both of those things. But it's been a real pleasure for me. And I will see you at Gravity. I can't wait.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Take care, Kerry.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.